welcome back to I Studio. The last time we met, I told you I was going on vacation, and it didn't give me more time in the studio. It actually took time away. We took two trips. We went to Arizona and we went to our cabin. We're not able to paint when we're gone. Then on top of it all, open studios. So we've been preparing for open studios, not here in Crockett, but in our Benicia studio. And we've been neglecting that studio for about a year. So there was a lot of cleanup to do. The walls needed to be painted, the floor painted, all the artwork brought over from Crockett to Benicia. It all got done. The studio looked beautiful. And we had a very successful and wonderful open studios. So that's what I've been up to. Then when I came back from vacation, I got a lot of panels and stretcher bars, custom stretcher bars. These need to be stretched. So I want to talk just a little bit about how to prepare each one, both the canvas and the panels, the difference between the two, why you might want to paint on one versus another. So I love to paint on canvas. If you'll remember, I just did a video a few weeks back on how to stretch the canvas, and it has a drum-like quality. For me, that's very nice to paint with. I feel like I'm communicating somehow with the painting through the resonance of the drum, and it's a pretty exciting experience for me. Now, panels. The reason I love to paint on panels is they're great for mixed media. And I do a lot of layers and I excavate back into the layers. There's a lot of sanding involved, digging. A lot of times when you're working on canvas, you could actually sand right through the canvas, especially on the edges. You have to be careful. Doing mixed media on panels, great, because they're a little rougher and you can treat them a little rougher. So you can really get a good sanded surface without worrying about going through, and that's what we want. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 custom panels and 4 stretcher bars, custom stretcher bars. So I've got enough work to keep me busy for a little while. And for the next little while, all I'll be doing is preparing the surfaces. So with your panels, there are 3 ways that you can prepare them. One is you can coat the surface with the GAC 100. I haven't used this often, and because of the amount of material that I have to seal, I would probably need to get a much larger size. Why do you want to seal the panels with some kind of a polymer rather than gesso? Panels are made out of thin layers of plywood. Water can penetrate the surface through fine cracks and actually lift those layers, creating bubbles on the surface. It's happened to me before. It's no fun. So you want to keep the moisture out of the panel. So the 3 ways are the GAC, medium, polymer medium. This is a gloss. You can use a matte or a satin, it doesn't matter. And the 3rd way that I try is shellac. Shellac is a very interesting medium. traditional finish and sealer. And it's made out of some kind of an insect. So it's pretty interesting. It's an alcohol base. You might want to wear a respirator or make sure you're in a well-ventilated area. So what I do with the medium is I just usually wind up pouring it on the top and brushing it. Same with the GAC. I do the top and the sides. Some people actually do the back. And I've debated whether or not that's a good practice or not, because on the one hand, I have heard that if you do one side and not the other, it would be prone to warping. And the other argument is the wood will not be able to breathe. So I don't know. I've generally not sealed the back of my panels. It's up to you. You can do a little research and see what you like. Now, after you get a coat or two of sealer on, then you can go ahead with your gesso. And you can gesso the surface if you'd like to start with a white surface. Go ahead and gesso it. With the canvas, I go ahead and stretch the canvas, and then I apply about 3 or 4 coats of gesso. After that, I take this molding paste, light molding paste, and I mix this 50-50 with the gesso, and I trowel the last layer on because I want a surface that doesn't show the canvas. I like that really smooth surface. So that's how I start the paintings. I've got my work cut out for me. As I said, I hope to be keeping in touch more often. I've got an awful lot of work ahead of me, and I'd like you to be a part of the process and kind of come along for the ride and see what happens. Wish me luck. Be careful. Remember, you know what I'm going to say. Painting is a practice. Practice makes perfect. Go to your studio and paint. One last thought I want to leave you in is painting in series. Now, I am set up right now to start a series. When I finish all this work, it's going to be a show in itself. And I want it to be somewhat cohesive. That doesn't mean every single piece has to look alike. There's a lot of things that you can do to make a series. It can all be the same subject. You can choose a color. You can stay within a color palette. Or you can do different colors within the same subject. And or maybe it's a technique that you're using in these particular paintings. It has to be a common denominator to tie all the work together. So think about your series, and it's a great idea to line up your substrates. And then I'm going to hang them all around the room, and I can quickly go from one to another to another. They don't become quite as precious. I have time to think about where I want them to go. I don't get obsessive with one piece, not at the beginning. Later on in the process, I usually do focus on one or two to bring them to a conclusion, and eventually they all will be resolved. But that is to be seen in future episodes. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please subscribe. Okay? See you later. Bye.